entrepreneurship is great. There's nothing bad. But what do you do with the money? I'm assuming you earn a lot here. So what do you do with the money? The fact that managing two businesses, one at home, one professionally, does that sometimes take a toll on you? And do you think it's easier for men that way?
I wiped out the whole capital.
Whole capital? Your dad didn't ask you to stop? Keep your emotions away from the market. Don't trade when you're at low. But how do you actually achieve these things? 2-3 times you've lost your entire capital and still come back. Have men in your life been supportive of your decision?
They've been amazing.
Hi guys. So this is the first of many. This is the first broadcast from Tradejini. This is my first podcast as a host. And this is the first podcast for all of them as panel members. This is very exciting for all of us. Let me be very honest. It's nervous as well, but I think it's the start of something big. We are planning an entire series on how to make finance education easy. And today being International Women's Day, I think this is apt. This is absolutely perfect because this is what we started this podcast with. The intent was to make everybody come into the markets, make markets more accessible to people. And in that, I think all of us are aware that women have not been predominantly very heavy into the markets. And that's not the right thing. That's not good for all of us as the citizens of the country. And globally also, I think. It's not a very, very pleasing picture. So to introduce the panel today, first of all, we have Kanchan. Kanchan's been into the markets for the last decade or so. So she's quite experienced, I would say. Been trading into the markets, been investing into the markets, and also running a business of her own. She will do the introduction after this. We have the second panelist, Gowri, who's just entered into the market. And her story is specifically very important because she got into the time when COVID hit. There was an influx of people into the market. And she was one of those people who started in COVID and luckily is continuing. A lot of them stopped after a small time, but luckily she's continued. And third, we have the most interesting of the lot is someone who's not been ever into the markets, but has made it into the podcast because of what she's been able to achieve as an entrepreneur. So that is Supriya for us, who's also part of the podcast. So I will hand it over to Kanchan to start with her background and what she's done, and then move it on. Yes, Kanchan, over to you.
Thank you so much for the introduction, first of all. And so like you mentioned, my name is Kanchan and I was introduced to stock market by my father. He's been into the stock market from the past 30 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it runs in the family. Me, my sister, all of us are into trading.
You and your sister as well?
Me and my sister. I have two younger sisters. The second one is trading. The youngest one said she doesn't want to spoil the family business and she moved out of it, so she's not into trading.
Thank God.
I have been trading since the past 10 years.
Okay.
And I also run a chocolate business, a home-based chocolate business.
Fantastic.
Where I make chocolates and sell it on order basis.
That's amazing. Gauri?
Yeah, basically I'm from Anavati, which is in Shimoga district. So I have got introduced to market in 2020 during COVID period. So I have completed my MCom in an MKRB college, and then with the random call I got into the market.
Most of the cases are like that. I
Exactly.
think most of the cases are when it happens in that split second and you start.
So the people at that time knew that the common people don't have money. So and then that is how I entered to the market. Okay. So it is into like brokerage things. Something like 50% profit sharing ratio. They said only profit sharing ratio. I didn't hear it as in loss also they will give us a part. So it's completely only profit sharing business kind of thing. So I lost some good money also.
I would like to get to know more of that in the podcast.
Yeah.
Supriya, your story.
Okay, so I got into the restaurant business during pandemic, like how most of us were. And at that time I saw like there was a scarcity of healthy food because before that, obviously even what I was eating was a lot of junk and not conscious about what I'm eating. Then I, like most of them, even I focused my health into like I want to live long, I want to eat healthy. Yeah. So with that idea, we came up with Santé Jayanagar. And since then, it's been good. It's been about 2 years. and totally into restaurant business at the moment. But I would love to know more through all of you about stocks.
Oh, absolutely. So, guys, so Supriya obviously runs Santé Jayanagar and been in the business for the last 3.5, 4 years. And I will start the panel up with her saying, entrepreneurship is great. There's nothing bad. But what do you do with the money? I'm assuming you earn a lot here. So what do you do with the money?
Okay. It's a very long assumption that all restaurants earn a lot. But with whatever we earn, I do this with my husband. So obviously,
fantastic.
all the support. But being a very, I would like to park my money where it is a little safer. So I invest in real estate, gold, silver, like most Indians do. I want in terms of how safe I can be, I know the value of land is going to grow. I know the value of my gold or silver is going to grow. Since I've seen from 2019, when I got married, what the gold rate was and what it is now is insane. Now you can't even afford it. So I know that I would rather put my money there because I've heard a lot about stocks, but I don't know. I feel it's a very risky part. So, yeah.
So the first conceived notion, what we would like to break today's discussion is that how the perception of stock market and stocks in general is that it is risky. And I would obviously like to understand from the other panelists as well, saying what their perception is. One thing that Supriya mentioned also, saying gold and real estate. What I understand is these are tangible assets. You can see them, you can feel them. And that gives you a sense of security.
Correct.
Saying it is in my control. I can see it when I want to see it. I know what's happening. But is that the most influential factor for you, that you invested in these asset classes?
Yes. Okay. About 90%, yes. I mean, I've heard a lot about, again, there was Bitcoin and all of that. But I don't know. Maybe I don't have the knowledge to understand what exactly it is. But yeah, the whole touch and feel aspect.
Gowri, to you. You've been investing the last 2-3 years.
Yes.
Was your mindset before also very similar to this, saying real estate, FDs, golds, jewelry, etc. was what kept your money invested, or was it something else?
So my father used to invest his money in mutual fund, SIP, those kind of things, and so I have some knowledge regarding that. So before that, I didn't have any money to invest. So because as soon as I complete my education, I started into this. So being a student, I don't have money to invest and do all those kind of things.
So where was your first source of money?
Yeah, my first source of money is I get scholarship because I got good marks and all those things. So I have saved my money. And second thing, as I stayed in Bangalore, so my father used to send monthly expenses, things and all. So I used to save those things, and yeah, that's how I made. But at that point of time, I made FDs.
You started with FDs?
Yeah.
Okay. So you also started with FDs. The point is that, okay. And so why did you move into the markets?
So I came to know that how market works and all. So a little bit knowledge I gained and all those things. So I thought, okay, the returns are good here because to invest in the gold, or it might be to invest in a land or those kind of things, we need lakhs together of money.
Yep.
So for to invest in stocks. So let's say, for example, instead of gold, I want to invest in a particular gold company like Kanchan Jewelers. So approximately 370 rupees with one good demat account, if I have, I can invest in gold. It is like, I'm investing in gold indirectly.
A quasi gold.
Yeah.
You're doing gold, but not directly.
Yes, exactly. On that company, I can invest. So instead of investing on the land, I can invest on DLF or the other things which is connected to real estate stock, like that.
So you mentioned that education was important before you got into market.
Exactly.
How did you get that education?
So it is my cousin Raghavendra who runs Market Pathshala. So there I get
Market Pathshala. Pathshala is itself school.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
market school.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you typically learn in these before entering the market?
So I learned what is fundamental analysis, which we require. So fundamental analysis is a kind like where we don't know anything regarding the market, particular company, how it goes, and all those things, whether to invest in that particular company or not, what are the process that we need to check on a particular company before investing.
Okay.
So like that, and then if it is into technical parts, at what time frame we need to buy.
Okay.
So we feel that okay, gold at the 70,000, 60, 70, something like that. So we can't buy. It will go up absolutely, but at 60,000 we don't prefer it buying. So we will wait. Okay, maybe the festival is near. The gold price might fall little bit. Even if it is 1,000 rupees fall, also we'll go and buy. So we need to predict that 1,000 will particularly, if not 1,900 rupees, it will fall.
Okay.
At that time, we'll try to buy. So that is how the technical analysis in glimpse of
So in essence, Supriya has also been doing investing and trading. She's also been timing the markets in whatever fashion possible, just not the stock markets.
Yes.
It is a different asset class, but you're doing pretty much what is needed to do in stock markets. So Kanchan, coming to you, the more experienced of the lot, what drove you into the market at a very, very young age? It took people, COVID to move into markets. It may take somebody else, some other factors to move into the markets, but what drove you to come into the markets?
So the main point that drove me was my father, because he's been into the market and
What does he do?
So he is into financing and stock market.
Okay.
More of stock market now. And he has seen good returns in the stock market. And as he has 3 daughters, the concept of that time it was not going for a job and everything. So this is something that you can earn sitting at home.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay.
And so, financial independence for him was very important to teach his daughters. So, and going ahead, wherever you are, stock market is something that you can access from anywhere.
So this is a equally important point that we come to, saying accessibility to your asset, liquidity of the asset is something that drove you to saying, why didn't you do mutual funds? Why didn't you do FDs, or why didn't you do gold, or why didn't you do land?
So we did everything. It's not only stock market. The whole money is not
Fantastic.
parked only in stock market, because it is a very high risk asset.
So you do consider stock market high risk?
I do.
Because we are trying to convince Supriya here to enter the market. So
No.
you do believe it is a risky asset?
It is. I
Okay.
would not deny that. It is the most riskiest one is stock market.
Okay.
So that is why you don't have to put all your funds in stock market. You need to have a cushion where if this goes wrong, you have a cushion. Like you have your FD, you have your gold, you have a PPF, any other investment which will make up for this.
Okay. And you also, apart from doing the investments, I understand you also trade in the markets.
Yeah, I majorly trade investments.
What is the difference between trading and investing?
Investing is for a long term.
Okay.
You do the fundamental analysis, like she said, you study the company, and if you feel it's a good company, you park your funds there and leave it for say at least 10 years.
Okay.
Trading is something that you can do in a day, in a week, in a month, and that is instant.
When you
profit
say
that you make.
do in a week, a month, what do you mean? Make money in a week, month, or?
Yeah, make money in a week.
Okay. And what do you do in trading?
In trading, I started off with futures and options. Options basically.
If you can just for the audience make futures and options in 2 lines, what it is?
So it is a derivative that it is derived from the stocks.
Okay.
So futures I would explain as say a stock is running at 100 rupees and its futures is at a given point in future. If I want to buy something, say I would buy it at 120, and at that, say at the month end, whatever price is of the stock, I will get it at 120 rupees.
So Supriya, to make this little more relevant, it is to say if you have to pick up certain raw materials today versus a month later, you lock in the price today for those raw materials a month later, and that is typically futures in the stock market.
Okay.
And that is traded as well, saying there is a change in price of what happens a month later versus what you have locked in today. And that today, unfortunately or fortunately, is a major part of the stock market. 90% of trading volumes today are coming from futures and options. It was meant to be a derivative product, which meant that you hedge yourself against your cash position in derivatives, but today it's become the exact opposite. Everyone's doing more derivatives than long-term investments. Gowri, so what do you think that people should be, they should keep in mind when entering the market?
Like before doing anything, like it might be we are entering into the job we'll consider that what is the shift, what is the salary, so what are all those things that we are getting, roles, responsibility, everything. So while being an entrepreneur also, we'll check out like area and all those things. We'll calculate the risk reward ratio, everything. But when the new people will heard about the stock market, they will be having only two notions regarding the market. Like the people will be in the market, make good money, or else the people will think they vanished everything. So only two concepts are there. So if we know that what we are doing, so we are not depending on anybody. So at least we are thinking on our own with some calm mind, with some good tools it might be, or some with good education. If we know what we are doing, consistently we can make money in the market.
So consistently making money is also something that is possible in the market, not just either completely ruining your capital or making a 10x return.
Exactly. Saving our capital is the first thing, and then making money consistently is the second part which we can consider, and sustaining that profit, what we made, it is the most important thing.
Supriya, what were the important things when you started Santé?
I started Santé during the pandemic. So obviously I had to kind of research about the locality, the kind of people in this area, the food preferences, the finances, staffing, marketing, everything is very essential in this. So all of that was very important. And obviously, running a family, running a business, everything is...
How difficult is it?
It's very difficult.
How do you manage it?
Where there's a will, there's a way,
Is it the fact that managing two businesses, one at home, one professionally, does that sometimes take a toll on you? And do you think it's easier for men that way?
No.
Okay.
Not really, because men nowadays share equal responsibilities at home.
Okay.
So I would not say it is any different, at least from my end. But I enjoy coming to the restaurant. I enjoy talking to customers, doing more research on the food that we're selling or what people like. I enjoy my work as much as I enjoy staying at home and doing something that I like doing at home. So it's never a business, but it is a part of my daily life that I love being here and doing my work.
So you said you have to constantly do research, keep yourself updated about market requirements. When it comes to your finances, you said your husband typically takes care of it, and even the restaurant, whether at home or at restaurant, I'm assuming he takes care. Why don't you want to do the same thing for your finances? Is there a specific barrier that has kept you away from managing your finances for yourself?
I do my finances, he does his.
Okay.
But whatever in the business, we take a very neutral approach on, obviously we do pros and cons on where we have to invest.
Okay.
And based on that, we obviously do a lot of research on where the money is going. Is it going to grow? Even if it doesn't grow exponentially initially, we know that it has a stable growth. So in that way, we both are a little bit more secure in our terms of finances. There are many places where I've gone and told, okay, maybe we should park our money here, and it's worked out. So in terms of where we are doing our investments, both of us do it very, it's a very mutual understanding on where we put our money.
Any reason for not entering stock markets? Whether your husband does it or no, I'm not sure. So as a family, do you guys invest in the markets?
Until now, no.
No.
Mostly because I don't understand most of it.
Okay.
And whatever I've heard, like she's told previously, it is very risky. Okay.
Education, the lack of education is one of the biggest barriers for you.
100%.
Okay. So making that more accessible, more easy may drive more women like you who've kept yourself away from the markets to maybe probably enter into the markets.
Yeah. Because there are a lot of Instagram reels that come out.
Okay.
In social media, a lot of people are talking about this. So I do know that all of this is existing. Like, my idea of, even if it doesn't grow quicker, I've seen Indian Railways, you can invest, buy some bonds. So I do have a little bit of knowledge on this, but I'm not very sure where to put my money.
So a very important point, the role of influencers. Like she mentioned, there are a lot of reels, lot of shorts, doing the rounds. Whether all accurate or inaccurate is another thing, but they are definitely influencing people, definitely influencing women. What is your take on that, Gowri?
So whatever the things that they do, every time the stocks or whatever the names that they provide, it is not matching sometimes. And then we, even though if we come to know regarding the stocks, like she said, Indian Railways, so we need to go and check it out, like how the company is performing. So what is this highest price that it made, and in which area or in which price it is stucking. So those are all the things we need to check it. So even I'm also a fin influencer.
Okay.
So if you go and check in Instagram of Market Pathshala, so even I too share my views on the market, or it might be like the stocks, like how you say. So I will be uploading the reels over there with lots of contents related to markets and all. It is like the people nowadays don't have financial literacy. They are very interested to invest the money into, like, okay, if some people are suggesting, they will take a suggestions and then they will invest their hard-earned money into that. So it might be in the if she, like when she say restaurant, so she said I will do lots of research and all those things. So even if though I have a money, so I'm very hesitant to invest my money to open a restaurant, maybe in Jayanagar or next to her locality, like that. So for stocks also, she might be hesitating to invest.
Like these influencers, right?
Yeah.
Most of them, there are a lot of reels.
Correct.
So many things they're talking. But okay, now like Indian reel, you should tell me why should I invest there? What has been the growth?
Absolutely.
That if I'm only supposed to sit into, I'm a little, not on the.
It's too much work.
What do I look into when I'm investing?
Correct.
That knowledge I don't have.
Correct. So there is family, there is business. If there is another thing now to sit and do, it's already too much.
Yeah.
Kanchan, your views.
If influencers do give out good information out there, but they do give out the wrong information as well. So what you need to see is, you need to do your homework. They will say what they have to say.
Okay.
You need to understand what they are saying. And again, financial literacy comes in that. You need to educate yourself and then only invest in it. Until you don't understand it, or else you need to have a wealth manager who understands it, who does it for you.
Okay. So managing finance, if you're doing it on your own, make sure that you're studying it. Is that the gist I'm getting out of the conversation? Saying if you want to manage your finance, be a little more prepared, be a little more educated, spend some more time on your own money.
Yes.
If not, then there are obviously people who are there to guide you, advise you.
There are expertise, and you can always go to them, and they have the knowledge of it. You can go to them and they will do a good job.
So these are typically the two ways that people are, even today, like she said, they're entering into the market. Saying one, the DIY based investors or traders. That means who are doing it themselves, saying they are taking their decisions, they are doing their research, and they are making their decisions. And in that space, I think brokers also have played a very big part, because with the advent of the entire objective of what discount brokerage started with, discount broking is typically for the investors or traders who are not dependent on the RMs or the relationship managers saying, you give me a call, you give me a tip, saying basis that I will do. But it is for those guys who have done their research but just want an exceptional platform, saying you give me a great platform, I will do what I need to do. And in that space, I think Tradejini also, over the last 10, 11 years that we've been into the business, we've tried to build, saying how do you build a robust platform which is easy for the absolute newcomer to the most advanced of the trader, saying the entire spectrum, how do you cover and make sure it is accessible for everybody. And I think as part of that, the entire concept of financial education and literacy has actually become very important post-COVID, because during COVID, everybody was sitting on money. Everybody had free time. And everybody thought, let me do something, whether it is business, whether it is investing into the markets, whether it is investing into gold or real estate. And the boom that happened there did not last for a very long time. And over the years that we have seen now, the market stabilizing, markets moving up, the same thing we've seen across asset classes, whether it's gold, like you mentioned, saying from COVID to now, it's shot up significantly. Real estate, from then to now, it's done very well for itself. And I think that is the crux of this discussion, saying that the earlier you make these decisions, the quicker you make these decisions, the power of compounding is phenomenal. So I would like to know, what is it that you understand? Because you entered the market early. What is it that you understand from compounding? Have you really seen compounding? Influencers speak about compounding. I spoke about compounding now. Is it a reality?
So yes, it is a reality. I've seen my dad investing. He had invested in 1990s.
Wow.
I was just born.
We were not born.
Yeah.
I was not born.
So I see those shares now. He is still holding them. Few are still on the paper form, and I'm
Oh
helping
my
him
God.
materialize them, and I see the values, and I'm like, you've done a good
He's done a good job at
you've
it.
done a good job.
Holding for 30 years is not a joke.
It's not a joke, yeah. So compounding is definitely a reality.
Okay.
And the sooner you invest, again, it is very important to know which stock to invest, because there are stocks which do not exist now, which he had invested back then. Again, making the right decision is very important.
Gowri, compounding and its power. Have you witnessed it, or you're still too early in it?
Yeah, I have witnessed it because recently I have invested. Recently, in the sense, basically some of the funds which my father invested for my wedding purposes, like Indian mentality. Okay, I need this money to invest on my daughter's marriage. So I had some good amount. He invested for me in mutual funds.
Fantastic.
So after some good results, I shown it to my papa. Okay, this is how I'm working in the market. So can you please give me those money? Because I didn't have money.
Okay.
So he couldn't trust me. So maybe 4 to 5 months, I showed him my P&L and all those
Okay,
things.
you showed him results
Yeah.
basis which he trusted you with his money.
Yes. So, and then he gave me some 5 lakhs. So with those 5 lakhs and also 1 or 2 lakhs, that what I earned from the market.
You had saved. Okay.
Yeah. During July and August, I have invested those into I made an investment.
Okay.
So approximately, I have witnessed more than 30 to 40% gain at present.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So I got a good gain in some 6 to 8 months. So currently I'm witnessing it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Supriya, do you think starting Santé earlier would have made life any different than what it is today? Saying if you had started before, you had say 5-6 years into the business, would it make any difference to what you did in COVID, or if you'd done it earlier?
I don't think there would have been much of a difference.
Okay.
But though during COVID, a lot of restaurants took a backseat.
Okay.
But because I started during that time, it worked out for me in terms of my rentals.
You got it at a great price.
I got it at a great price. And people were, genuinely nicer. At that time, they were like, okay, you want to start something at this market, it's fine. They did give me a buffer period, and I think all the people at that time who supported have been great to me.
Okay.
But even if I started this 5 years ago, I started at 3, or even if I start the same thing now, I know it's still going to be the same rat race in the industry. So,
biggest regret that you had till now in Santé, or anything that you did before Santé?
nothing.
No other regrets? No something that you would say, I would like to do this differently or that differently?
I think even if I've done something which has not worked out, I felt I've learned something from it.
Okay.
Because my parents have always told, even if it doesn't work out, you're learning something.
Okay.
So next time you're doing something, you will keep this in mind, and rather than listening to 10 people, if you experience it yourself, there's a lot of more impact on that. So there never regrets. You learn and then you progress further. So
Fantastic.
you just take it to the next step.
Very, very good answer. While we are getting some great beverages served, all thanks to Santé Jayanagar for the very, very refreshing looking drinks. I would like to continue the conversation on a more difficult note now.
This is Women's Day special.
Okay, that looks apt for the video as well. So, the important question is, all of us are saying how good the markets are, but the markets can be as difficult as well. What has been the most difficult time? We start with Kanchan, the most experienced of the lot, saying what has been the most difficult time in the market? What has been your biggest loss? till now. You may not want to quantify, it's perfectly fine. But what is it that you went through emotionally at that time? And why is it that you're still in the market after doing that?
So the most difficult part about the market is the losses, and losses are a part of the market.
Yeah.
So as in a restaurant business as well, you do account for losses. Like here, it's just that we have to consider loss as a part of the costing of the business. Like how you consider your raw materials, you consider a wastage cost as well.
Yeah.
So you can consider loss as a wastage cost. Okay. If you look at it that way, then you can consider stock market as a business as well. So you have your money, you do your research, you account for the losses and then get into the market. So losses won't affect you that much.
Okay.
But the fact that losses are there needs to be accepted.
What was your biggest loss? When was it? How did you get back?
So biggest loss was in the initial days as well. I wiped out the whole capital. What was
Whole
there.
capital?
Whole capital.
Your dad didn't ask you to stop?
No, the thing was he was very supportive. He wanted me to learn. So he told me, put in how much money you are ready to lose.
How much money you are ready to lose? Okay.
That's
And
amazing.
And is that a percentage of something? Is that something that you can, even if you lose that, you can still sleep at night?
Yes.
Okay.
To get into the market, you need to put in the money you are ready to lose.
Okay. So this is something that is lying extra. Something that doesn't affect your livelihood on a day-to-day basis.
On a day-to-day basis.
So you need to invest something that will, you can continue your current lifestyle. And if this money goes bust, that doesn't change.
That doesn't change. Yeah.
Okay. And how did you manage when you lost all your dad's money at that point of time? There's a lot of trust also he's put on you.
He has.
And to not live up to that is another challenge, emotionally and mentally. How did you go through that?
It was very hard initially because losing actual money is very heartbreaking.
All of us are laughing.
Yeah. It is. You're losing actual money. It is not a thing that you have lost. You're losing your actual income. And but again, if you look at losses as a tuition fee.
Okay. Tuition fee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Learning.
So you learn.
This is a great piece of value add.
So you
Repeat
learn
that.
with-
Repeat that.
So you need to look at losses as your tuition fee. You put in money into your education. You do your schooling, college.
Correct.
You put in money in that. You learn from that, and then you use that.
Absolutely.
So you can. The losses are considered as a learning.
Okay.
You learn from that, and then you again reinvest and make money out of it.
Was there a dull phase in your life when you were going through those days?
It is. So again, markets do replicate your own emotions.
Markets do replicate your own emotions. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So
We have a lot of great one-liners coming.
So when you yourself are in a low phase in your life, the markets won't do good for you. Either you need to detach yourself from your emotions and look at markets separately, which
Phenomenal.
is a little difficult for women in general.
Why?
We are
I'm
more
sorry,
emotional.
But why? Okay.
I don't know if you all agree, but
Yeah, I
we
agree.
are a little more emotional than men. So when you're going through something, a dull phase in your life, it's better to stay away from market if you know you cannot keep it separate.
That's phenomenal. I think the highlight of today's discussion was
The energies, no? You're feeling
Yeah.
low. You
Yeah.
don't
Anything
feel
you
that
do,
confident.
yeah.
to-
For any trader, psychology and emotional
Psychology.
balance is very,
Very
important. Yeah.
what do you mean?
Like emotions, psychology, like we should be stick on to our losses. Like she said, we need to, sometimes we feel like, okay, if it is showing us 2,000, 3,000 minuses and all, we'll be considering the, okay, only 2,000, 3,000, it will come up. We'll be having that false notion that, okay, it will come up. How it will come up? So there is no technical, there is no supports and all. If we predicted that the market will go up, it is completely breaking. We don't have. At that time, we feel sometimes like psychology will what matters because we'll be ready to, okay, how much it want to go. Like, I will also see. It is
More
in
of
the
a
market.
ego, like no, I cannot lose in this. So you keep holding on to that.
Stick on. We'll be
Is that
sticking
ego?
on.
It is.
Yeah. So it is something like it is me versus
No.
market. It is me versus market.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is not actually me versus market. It is only me versus me.
Me. Right?
Oh wow. Okay.
Exactly.
Both of them are on they've really got into the role now.
Yeah.
Saying, okay, now we are talking really what market is.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yes, please continue.
So it's market is only about our psychology, our mindset, and it is only me versus me, as I said.
Because you can't control the market, right?
Exactly.
You
We can
absolutely
control our emotions. We
You
can't
can
control
control
the
your own
market.
actions, but yeah, you cannot
What
control
crashes,
it.
what goes high,
Yes.
how will you be able to predict?
But it's very easy to say all of this. Very, very easy to
Exactly.
say, keep your emotions away from the market. Don't trade when you're at low. But how do you actually achieve these things? See, now when you said that it is me versus me, the point is ego and greed always comes. Saying, I have to prove myself that I can do better. So I will take those 2 additional trades, take riskier trades, a higher quantity. How do you stay away from all of that?
So I went through yoga classes and all, meditations and all.
Wow. Okay.
So because in previous, when I have seen my big loss, it is approximately 96,000. Like she said, I vanished my complete capital. It is not one time, 2-3 times I vanished my capital.
2-3 times you've lost your entire capital
Yeah.
and still come back and
Yes.
still continue to stay in the market.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's been 3 years. I lost it more than a loss. I can say complete my capital only vanished. So
Oh my
I
God.
took some extra money and then I invested. So because when I'm losing 96,000 and all those things, so I know that if I'm losing, I can make it here. So something is wrong with me, not with the market. And the only thing is in India, so I can't go, and if I go to job, so approximately maybe 50,000 or 1 lakh, that is the highest pay I can get at that point of time, maybe
Okay.
1 or 2 years.
Just
time.
out of college.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then if I start any business, again it needs
A
fund.
lot of capital.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have given for up to I have completed MCom. So with 21 years approximately, I have given for my education. But with only 2 years of experience or maybe 6 months out of the experience, I expect good money from the market. Obviously, it won't give me. So I realized that point. So I'm missing something. So I need to learn. I need to give my time to the market. Then only it will give me. So
Okay.
instead of giving anything from my side to the market, I can't expect anything from the market.
So like she said, tuition
Yeah,
fee.
exactly.
It is tuition fee to the market.
Exactly.
And I think it's a very valid point saying the hard reality of the market. And I think some of the reasons why influencers today is that they are exaggerating how quickly you can make money.
Yeah.
It's not true. We are all live examples of it. She also mentioned saying the first few months are just to give back. Say, until I don't educate myself, until I don't learn, there is a fee that I have to pay, whether in terms of a loss or in terms of actually picking up education. And I think the expectation that market is going to make me rich overnight has to be broken. I think it doesn't work that way. It's a slow process. Like any other business, we run a broking house, you run a restaurant, you have your own educational course, you have your own chocolatier, and everything takes time. If the expectation is that overnight I'm going to be a billionaire, that's the wrong expectation that a lot of influencers are also setting. And that I think somewhere is creeping into the Bharat that we say, which is tier 2, tier 3. And people from there have now started putting their hard-earned money. And that is not even the money which they can keep aside apart from their livelihood. This is their livelihood money that they invest and lose. And then there's depression and suicide and all the things that shouldn't happen. Markets are not made for that. But I think the important part is the importance of education, the importance of maintaining your emotional check. And I think as women, I would love to know more on the emotional side because there's a lot of it that you guys go through. I think for men, it's a lot lesser. We have certain different set of emotions that we have to go through, different set of pressures we have to go through. But as women, it's not a lot about it gets spoken. And I think I would love for Supriya to also say, by saying, how did you get, I won't say permission, but how did you get the inner spirit in you to say, I want to start a business, I want to do something for my own self and be financially independent?
To start business was not that hard, but I feel keeping it going was the harder part. And obviously there are a lot of emotional turmoil you have, even like a negative review or someone says something and you're carrying a lot of weight on you in terms of like society looking at you. They'll be like, okay, she's trying something. And I don't think many of them are even on a positive outlook on I want her to achieve. They're
That's
more
kind of
like,
sad.
I think that's
That's
the mentality
demotivating.
of people out there, but we'll get over it because after a point you don't care because you're doing it for yourself. It is hard because every day I know I'm criticized. Every day people are looking at like, what is she doing? How is she making it in her life? Okay. So the constant eyes on what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, being a girl, she's doing so much. Oh, look at her parents, they don't care.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
100%.
The society looks at you at a very different level. Like,
now for them being, investing and stocks, and this is amazing. I mean, I find like, wow, like some compound and this and that, they know what they're doing. And I would love to know more about it. But the knowledge that I have is very limited.
Correct.
Because obviously we look at all these Instagram, reels and people talking. Even I would be very tempted to go invest, but then I don't know. Once if it flops or I lose my capital, I don't think I would have the courage to go invest more and then do more.
Okay.
But then again, like they're saying, you need to put that money aside, see how it works, all of that. So I think people in my life have been very supportive, and either way.
Have men in your life been supportive of
They've
your decision?
been amazing. I think more than supportive. I have my dad, my brother, my husband.
Is that important to you?
It is.
Is the support of the men in your respective lives, professionally and personally, does that help you bridge that fear of saying, okay, can I make something out of my own money?
Because at the end of the day, now I go home, something's not going great here. I go home, I have a conversation with my dad, and he's like, it's okay, it's just another day. You go tomorrow, it's a fresh start, get on, go do your thing. As long as you're doing your job honestly, there's nothing that's going to like pull you down. Maybe today's been a bad day.
Yeah.
So hearing things like this from my father or my brother or my husband, they always tell there's something better coming.
Yeah.
So even if I'm going down low in my professional life, personally they encourage me. So mentally I'm always at a good state.
That's very, very important.
Yeah.
I think dads also play a very important role.
100%.
Yeah, like even when I have a long day, dad would make a coffee for me and just be there and help me. Like, and sometimes he does help me with my chocolates also. He'll tell me what can I do. Yeah, so that way he's been a very big support, and I think all our dads have been a big support.
True. So the one push from the family, like, I'm here with you. So that is where it keeps us motivated. Yeah, I'm here. That's what we need. And I think, as to sit here, so our back there.
They are there.
Already we're battling so much out here in society. You don't want another battle in your house.
Absolutely.
They are like, go ahead, do it. That I feel we're all truly blessed in terms of, families being there for us and telling, go ahead.
But I think equally, like you mentioned, the role of the fathers, but I think equally the role of the moms. And because we are speaking about Women's Day today, and the role of women in each of your life is equally important. And over the years, I have been having a sister myself. My mom and my dad always told her only one thing, saying, if you're not going to be financially independent, don't ever expect anything from me. I'm here to support you. But if you're not going to take that chance, take that risk and do something for yourself, you will always be dependent on me, which I don't want. And I think that as a lesson, while they were giving it to her, I took it very seriously. Saying, if I'm not going to pick this up and become independent over the years and depend on my mom or my dad, it's not going to take me anywhere. And I think the three of you, it's enlightening for me to see that all of you are doing something fantastic in your respective careers. And it's not a stigma, but being women, you're able to do all of this. And that is the important part. And I would like to last thoughts for you, saying before we end, what is it that will motivate more people to enter stock market, more women to enter stock market?
So I would like to say, don't consider it as, again, an overnight success.
Okay.
You need to give it time. You need to study about it. You need to go through the process of losses and profits. And only once you go through that, you will be able to know whether you are good at it or not. Okay. And it is okay if you're not good at it. And if you think you're good at it, you can go ahead with it.
Gowri.
So when it comes to stock market, we have so many things here. So like people would say that only from morning 9 to evening, 3:30 the market will close. So we have commodity market which
goes on till 12
till
o'clock.
11:30 something like that. And we have recently in our institution we are teaching this forex too.
Okay.
So 24/7 that BTS, that USD that will be running. So there are so many opportunities. So as ma'am said previously that where there is a way, there is a will. So the thing is we have to make a strong decision like what we need to do. We need to first see our steps where we have to keep. So and then also we have to stick on to that particular step. So when I have entered to the stock market profession, I have considered on that day only, okay, I'm not going to do anything till I'm finishing this thing. So something that I achieve. So that is what I have determined, and I completely stick on to this thing. So we have to consider this as a business. What is my risk? What is my reward? So how I can correct, like who are my competitors? So we have to when in our portfolios, we need to check what are my portfolios, investors, who are their competitors are. So those are all the things we need to keep a track on it. And also like education is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is what we need.
Supriya has the last hour or so, the discussion that we have had, very candid discussion.
Yes.
Absolutely no biases and as candid as we could get. Do you think your perception about the market has changed? Do you think, yes, this is something that I would want to see? And looking at my counterparts here who are doing it also, do you think that it motivates you?
Yeah, I'm going to catch hold of this. And like how her father would have invested 30 years ago, and he knows that that's given money. You tell me what I invest now, in 30 years I see good returns. Like obviously you need people to give you the knowledge and insight about where you're putting your money, how long, like some people don't mind waiting that long when you see the kind of returns.
Yeah.
So why not? I will try definitely, but yeah.
So just to close today's discussion, like we said, it is Women's Day. It's a very important day. And to just give some hard reality, today we are at close to 40-45% of women who are actually invested into the markets. It's not the most prettiest picture, but it's improving. During COVID, there was a major spike, and then it again came down, consolidated, and now it's a phase that we are seeing. And I think this is something that I've been thinking, but I think the 21st century is something which I call the 4Fs, which is basically financial future is fast female, which means that in finance, the future is female, but it is the fast female, which means the female who's willing to change, who's willing to adapt, who's willing to take risk and do it quickly. So I think the financial future for fast female is what has constantly been running in my mind, saying that is the crux of the coming days. And I think with all of you, I would like to give you a big thank you for spending your time with me and the Tradejini Podcast. And I think it was a very insightful discussion, especially for me, especially the things that all of you mentioned about psychology, emotions, the fee to the market. These are things which are amazing. And I think even for the audience, I'm sure that you will get some inspiration from what we have discussed today. And hopefully we are able to convert even 10 women to enter the market. And I think we have done a good job. So thank you all. Thank you for being here. And part 2 of this, after a year, Supriya will be in the markets hopefully, and we are going to do another video on this. Yeah.
So we'll be opening a franchisee maybe in Jayanagar Park because we have got inspired by ma'am.
Now all their money that they're making through this, they will
somewhere needs to be
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Because our profit should invest it somewhere.
Diversification. Super. So that's it from the podcast today, guys. Thank you so much for patiently listening to us. And I think we've all enjoyed it thoroughly, and hopefully you too. Stay tuned for more, and please follow, like, and share for the next video that are coming through. So thank you.